Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Hello?
Dave.
It's me.
Where are you?
Well, I've been building some new Blu-ray fixtures and I seem to have built them around myself well, I'm kind of trapped.
Where is this?
It's right by you. It's in the boutique Blu-ray section. See those nice new shelves?
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
Well, as I'm a little indisposed, perhaps you could maybe, introduce the show for me?
Yeah. Uh, okay. Um, Welcome to episode 3 inside the video store.
You have seen Dave Made a Maze, haven't you? Because if not, then that opening joke made absolutely no sense whatsoever to you. But hopefully, it's made you go in and take a look at Dave Made a Maze, because it is absolutely fantastic and very funny. It's available on Blu-ray here, and apparently it's streaming on Amazon Prime. But don't let Dave tell you that I said that. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you for joining. Again, amazing number of comments, nice remarks, and just general positivity regarding last week's show. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for becoming this loyal group of people who are watching this, which is fantastic. I hope you still find it interesting. I apologise again for throwing another 50 films at you over the next 30 minutes. I did think to myself, actually, if I continue throwing 50 films at you per episode, how many episodes can we do? Well, for 6 years worth of episodes. So should be all right. Should be all right. For now, anyway. Anyway, let's have a look for the fresh produce for this week, which is the brand new releases. The films are literally first time in the video store in any format. Only start in one place, and that's Poor Things with Emma Stone. Great film. You may be aware of the director, whose name that I will probably mangle, Yorgos Lanthimos. His first two films were amazing, Dogtooth and Alps. Next couple were equally good. One with Colin Firth, was it The Lobster? But yeah, this is superb. Available on DVD and Blu-ray. You must take a look at it. It's very, very cool. Quite surreal, but very good indeed. Secondly, kids film, family film. Disney's Wish. Um, Most people that come in are like, well, we don't want to rent that because we can get it for free on Disney. Well, it's not for free on Disney because you're paying Disney's extortionate prices that are going up year after year after year. So you're paying £11 for the privilege of watching it on Disney, or you can pay £1 to rent it from a real life video shop. It's tricky, but maybe Mickey needs a pension, so maybe pay Disney. We'll see. This looks amazing. One Life with Anthony Hopkins. True story. It's about a stockbroker who rescued 600 kids during the Second World War, Czechoslovakian, Nazi occupied Czechoslovakia, and rescued them to safety. Brilliant, inspiring true story that is really uplifting, and yeah, it's brilliant with Anthony Hopkins on absolutely fine form. This next film, Eileen, is set during the 60s, I think, in a prison type scenario, and follows the friendship between two co-workers. And we are promised, I haven't seen it, but we are promised that it has twists aplenty. So looking forward to that. Good cast. Anne Hathaway is in it. Now, Saturday Night Live spin-off movies can be a little bit, we have the Blues Brothers, which was obviously fantastic. It's Pat, maybe less so. But yeah, Wayne's World, obviously amazing, but then they kind of sink to the obscure other ones like Night of the Roxbury, which is actually one of my favourites, but nobody seems to really remember that movie. I love it. I've even got the soundtrack right over there. Anyway, this is another one, kind of, because the comedy troupe called Please Don't Destroy, 3 of them, they were writers at SNL, and now they're going on to make this film, which is star-studded in its cameos with Conan O'Brien and Conan O'Brien. There is more people, I'm sure, about it. But anyway, that looks interesting, if a little bit silly. But silly is good. Speaking of silly, we have Attack of the Meth Gator, made by the Asylum, which is kind of, they were renowned for making mockbusters, stuff like Snakes on a Train instead of Snakes on a Plane, Transmorphers instead of Transformers. That's their legacy, but they're better than that, and they actually make some pretty good films on a budget. This is another one, obviously a spin-off, well, obviously inspired by Cocaine Bear, Attack of the Meth Gator. I'm looking forward to it because I like their movies. In fact, I've got a section right down there dedicated to the Asylum. I'll show you one week if you're naughty. And it's great. It's directed by Chris Olin Ray, who's Fred Olin Ray's son. Fred Olin Ray, epic director. He's not dead and not looking like up to heaven. I think he's just really good. Very good indeed. Not very good, very bad indeed, but looking forward to it because it's good fun and we should enjoy ourselves. So yeah, looking forward to that. So that is this week's fresh produce, and now I'm going to beef up so I can lift this next stack of boutique Blu-rays. This last week of every month is becoming a challenge, isn't it? I mean, look at this. This is 1 week. It's not even a full week. It's just the majority of 1 week. It's a lot. Too much choice is a nice problem to have, though, isn't it? It is a nice problem. But the amount of boutique companies who are positioning their products in the last week of every month is quite overwhelming. It's a lot for a collector. You know, is it sustainable to get this volume of films every month? How hard is it to cherry pick? It's difficult. I mean, you've got mortgages to pay, rents to pay, gas, electric. It's difficult to justify blowing 20 quid on the Panther Woman. But still, I asked the question on Twitter this week because I wanted to know how people are dealing with this volume of product, which is crazy. A few people were nice enough to reply. Neil Lombard said that sometimes it feels impossible to keep up with it all. But at least we own everything that we buy, so there's no pressure to watch it, which is very true. Will Dunn, meanwhile, said that it's hard to keep within a monthly budget, but he says that he's letting go with a lot of the mainstream releases that are coming out, a lot of the studio product, which is fair. And of course, Against the Grain, once more, was keen to stress that it's a good problem to have, and it is. But what do you think about this overwhelming number of releases? Is it too much? How are you dealing with it? And is FOMO, is fear of missing out, a real problem, or are you just literally not bothered? Let me know. Comments and thoughts below if you can. Let's have a look at this week's anyway. I'm going to quickly whip through them. I know there's other people who are going into far much more detail, but for me, I'm just going to give you a quick skip through them all. We got 5 from Indicator, which is exciting, great company. And what I was saying last week about the Fear City box from 101, I didn't like the flimsiness of that slip cover that they put the Black Label releases in. I just don't think it needs to decide whether it's one thing or the other. It's not an O card, it's not a hard box. It needs to decide which one it is, because it just looks a bit cheap. Because these are £2 more, and you get a hard slip, and you get a lavish booklet, perfect bound booklet, gorgeous. And to me, I think this is a better investment than the 101 stuff, irrespective of what the film is. Anyway, we have 2 Ozploitation films, Patrick and Snapshot, the first of a Ozploitation range that Indicator are doing, I think, which is very exciting. Lots of great Ozploitation films that need a good UK release. Looking at you, next of kin. Also, continuing their obsession with Mexican cinema, which is wonderful, We have the Batwoman. We have Santo versus Raiders of Terror. And we have the Panther Women as well. So cool. Amazing to think that these three films, or films such as these three, are getting released in the UK. And they're selling as well. I've always thought the UK as being quite a conservative nation, sort of governed by the IMDb score, and we will not drop below 7.0 in our entertainments. But this is cool. I mean, this is cheesy and fun, so it's good that people are embracing this style of filmmaking, and it's cool that people are embracing films from another culture and another country's history in this strangely sometimes xenophobic island. Moving on, we have two from Radiance. Of course, Fran Simeone left Arrow a couple of years back now. I don't get every Radiance film because I can't afford to. Someone's got to give. But these two releases are fantastic. This week you have the Bounty Hunter trilogy, which is really cool. The same guy that was in the Lone Wolf and Cub films. Don't know anything about these really, other than that. Can't wait to watch them. And of course we have Alain Delon and Duccio Tessari's Tony Ausenta. Another great piece of Italian cinema. Can't wait to watch these. Can't wait to see people rent them. That's the most important thing. Two from Eureka. Again, another two great films from the Far East. Spoiling us with martial arts, as they have done for a couple of years now. If you get the limited edition copy of The Swordsman of All Swordsmen, you also get a bonus disc, which features The Mystery of Chess Boxing. A great old school kung fu film with burnt-on subtitles, and if you switch on the English dubbing, it's a terrible English dub, which is just lovely, as it perfectly suits the movie. And yeah, great. Also, of course, 88 have licensed a lot of the Tygon catalogue, which is good because Tygon released some amazing films. I know Rich, I spoke to him the other day, he's very proud of these releases. The first two are Witchfinder General and Blood on Satan's Claw. Gorgeous slips, really well made. Lavish special features and wonderful new artwork too. They look great. And yeah, that's all the boutiques this week. Thankfully, there's only one next week, so short segment. What's in the box? This is exciting. I know I shouldn't really be doing another segment about more new films that'll come in, but this here is the most exciting box of the month. It's the Vinegar Syndrome box. Once a month I've got a subscription. They're my favourite label. I just absolutely love everything they do. They're partner labels as well. And it's just really exciting every time that the box just comes in. Normally I've forgotten what I ordered because it's about a month between ordering and delivery. And yeah, just really exciting. So quickly go through what's in the Vinegar Syndrome box. Some of these won't be on the shelf at Snips, because if they did, I'd be prosecuted under the Obscene Publications Act. Yes, for some reason in this country I can't stock pornography without a special license. So I buy a lot of XXX films for my own perusal. I'm writing a book at the moment on Gary Gravett, who is a well-known cinematographer, Orson Welles' right-hand man, but also he directed a lot of XXX movies. So hence why I buy a lot, because I like to do research. Oh yes, that old chestnut research. Anyway, we have Roommates, XXXer. I've actually got this. I bought this for a friend, John, and I'm gonna go over to Liverpool next week and hand it to him because he's really excited about watching this. It's Chuck Vincent's magnum opus in the XXX field. Chuck Vincent, big hero of ours. And yeah, this is a magnificent piece of work. It's a stunning film, and yeah, absolutely mega. Inside Little Oral Annie. Yeah, I don't need to expand on that, other than say it's a double feature with Little Oral Annie Takes Manhattan. Yeah, moving on. We have Nude in Charcoal. Yeah, we've all done it. And finally, I mean, this is just amazing. Blonde Ambition, one of the greatest Triple X films of all time. It's kind of a weird comedy mixed with a tribute to the golden era of 50s Hollywood musicals. It's quite something. And I texted Rich at 88 Films last week with their other release that came packaged like this to say, you know, stop trying to figure out new ways to package your releases because you will never beat the lavish wonder of something like that. I mean, the thought and effort that's gone into that is quite stunning. And the cost, I mean, I don't know how they make a penny profit on that, but hopefully they do because they deserve it. That is absolutely gorgeous. One of the finest packaged releases of the year. Stunning piece of work. Blonde Ambition, available from melusine.com, MELUSINE. Don't ask at your local video store because I will not be serving you with these films that will corrupt your mind and so make you descend into perverts. Just on the Liberty set up a great label this year. Cinematographe, French. I can't pronounce it. I'm sure it means something very profound. Third release came out this month. It's mega. It's Going South. It's Jack Nicholson's film. He directed it. He stars in it. And John Belushi also stars in it. I've always wanted to see this for about 25 years. Finally, I get to in this lavish, wonderfully curated restoration, 4K restoration. Looking forward to this. Can't wait to watch it. Again, packaging is insane. But we've kind of come beyond the days of, just a regular Amaray now. To have stuff in a cloth-bound insert is just ridiculous. Severe Injuries comes out via Saturn's Core, one of his Vinegar Syndrome's partner labels. Directed by the great Amy Lynn Best. That should be good fun to watch. Shot on video horror film. I think it's a bit of a satire, that, isn't it? In the Canary Islands a few years ago, they decided to make a kung fu film. It didn't go too well, but never mind because we have it here. It's called Karate Contra Mafia and should be an absolutely wild time. Singapore Sling, I think it's a Greek film, is it not? Notorious in its depiction of all kinds of horrible things. But yeah, I really can't wait to watch that. What else we got in this Vinegar Syndrome box? We have the 4K UHD release of Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. I'm sure someone in the UK will be releasing this on standard Blu-ray. But yeah, as for now, they have licensed it from Paramount, and it's looking very good indeed. A double bill of Italian horror mayhem is upon us with Spectres and Maya. Spectres and Maya, both late 80s, both kind of themed along the path of ancient evil, kind of waking up from somewhere. 87 and 89, and they look absolutely terrific. And finally, from our good friends at AGFA, the American Genre Film Archive, we have this exciting looking slasher movie from 1988 called The Last Slumber Party. And that is this month's What's in the Box, looking at Vinegar Syndrome and their partner releases that have wound their way across the Atlantic and into my lovely video shop, except for the porn. And welcome to the On Tour segment. I thought I'd save you the pain of having to look at my ugly mug for another 5 minutes. So enjoy your break, and I will tell you about this section. One of the first things I was keen to set up here was a section devoted entirely to that golden era of Hollywood. I thought that it was one of the many things that Blockbuster didn't really take seriously. I get so many older people in who love this part of the store, and also so many younger people who are keen to dig into classic black and white movies. It just made so much sense to collate them in one place. A problem that I had, though, was that all these movies were on the original fixtures that we put in a couple of decades ago. It was moulded plastic, and time hadn't been kind. So it was cracking, it was discoloured, it was just a haven for dust and dirt. These handcrafted bookshelves are undoubtedly the answer. I could build them to spec, which it did, and it gave me the luxury, and it is a luxury in this place, of an extra shelf. And it just enabled the titles to be stored better, and most importantly, they were easier to browse. So what have I got here? If we go forward a little bit, we'll have a look at, every actor has got their own category. Like take Burt Lancaster, for example. With the old shelving, it was rigid. It was 6 films per plastic pocket, per plastic molded pocket, and that was it. But now with these bookshelves, I can kind of integrate a few of Burt's films that I didn't have in this section, stuff like Atlantic City, The Island of Dr. Moreau, Tough Guys as well, I didn't have here. At the main, it is predominantly the standard, Golden Era stars, Humphrey Bogart, we have Harold Lloyd. Who else have we got here? Of course, Jack Lemmon, who kind of transcends that golden era, because there's a lot of stuff here that perhaps doesn't qualify. Well, Out to Sea maybe, and also Getting Away with Murder. I think I'll have to do something on that film one episode. It's a weird film. Jack Lemmon and Dan Aykroyd. Marilyn Monroe is here. Then we drop down Robert Mitchum, Marlon Brando, Gary Cooper, Elizabeth Taylor, Burt Lancaster, Jimmy Stewart, of course. Spencer Tracy, Northwest Passage, Barbara Stanwyck. Again, with a lot of these golden era stars, so many films cross over into another category. So you got for example, in Elizabeth Taylor, Cleopatra, you've got Richard Burton. So you can't have the same film in 2 separate sections. So it's pretty much one or the other. But it allows me also to bring in films like Nobody's Fool, the Paul Newman film that we spoke about on episode 1, I think. And I can mingle alongside his classic films like Cool Hand Luke and Butch Cassidy, but also with stuff that maybe people don't go back to often enough, like Twilight. Remember that film? What a film. So good. Yeah, so all the classic actors are here. And then I'm sorry if you're going to feel dizzy, but I can also go down and do stuff like, the Thin Man collection is down here on the bottom shelf, which is a great series of films, which I love dearly. They're so much fun. And if we get up, sorry about this, move along. Also got stuff like, W.C. Fields. That's a great box set, isn't it? That's a great box set. Next to Burt Reynolds, and I like The Last Movie Star. I really do. I think it's a brilliant film. But also it's alongside Burt's classics like Deliverance, Cannonball Run, etc., etc. We drop down though, we've got the Abbott and Costello collection, which never really gets taken out, which is a shame because they're so funny. And then drop down again, we have Tarzan. Just the Weissmuller films on it? Yeah, the Johnny Weissmuller films. I know Warner Archive have released some other ones. That who was the Scottish guy? Jock, I forget. And yeah, we got The Road too as well. Keep on going along to Rodgers and Hammerstein collection. And of course, Elvis. But yeah, I hope that makes sense to you. And yeah, for me, it's all about discovery. It's all about introducing people to films that they might or not ordinarily see. And, in this day and age, where are you going to find these films? I mean, it's very rare they're on TV anymore. They're certainly not on Netflix. Mubi maybe, but they're just getting harder and harder to really find classic cinema, black and white, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So to have all this in one place, I think, is really important. So that is my classic actors section. Tempest Fusion. So let's have a quick look at what's out on loan this week. It is funny to see the amount of customers that come in and rent stuff that's been featured here, because it's stuff that their eyes never caught in the shop, and it's really cool, because a lot of these films I'm picking here because they haven't had much attention. They haven't been out many times. So it's really cool to see them getting a second wind with a couple of rentals in succession. And yes, Brain Dead is out again for the third consecutive week this week. Crazy. I hate this cover more than life itself. Summer Rental, brilliant film. What Paramount were thinking when they put out this cover. It looks like a dodgy pirate. But nevertheless, this is the European release of Summer Rental, the excellent John Candy film, directed by Carl Reiner, no less, Rob Reiner's father and great friend to Mel Brooks. It's very funny. It's very funny. One of the classic John Candy films, but one of the classic John Candy films that seems to have eluded most people. It's very good, though. You should definitely seek it out. Shout out to Molly from Parapsychis Cinema, who's setting up screenings over in Liverpool recently of some very exciting films, and she's rented this one, which is pretty cool. A classic LGBT film locally. The Fruit Machine, great movie about two 16-year-old kids that go on the run. It's excellent. Again, it's another broken record time. Another one released by Network. This is going quickly out of print, and it's hard to come by. The Apostles, a film that I think is amazing, but it's one of those that 25 years on doesn't really get much attention. I don't think there's a Blu-ray over here. It only just had a DVD release here. I'm still running on the European import. It's a great film. Robert Duvall on fine form. And it hasn't been out in probably a decade, so it's great to see someone finally getting into it. It's so cool. We lost the great Anthony Hickox last year, just a brilliant filmmaker. Hellraiser 3, Waxwork, so many good films. This is one of his best. Full Eclipse, vampire movie with Mario Van Peebles, or even Melvin. I think Mario's just died, isn't it? No, Mario, yeah. And it's really, really good. I think it was made for HBO in America. I know Matthew Budrevich is going to be shouting at his TV now. But yeah, it's very, very good indeed. Brilliant film, action all the way. And if you've not seen it, which I'm guessing you probably haven't, you really, really should. It's great fun. Squaring the Circle is one of the best documentaries of this year. It's a look at Hypnosis, the album designing team from the 60s and 70s, made several iconic album covers, for example, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And this documentary is a fascinating insight into their career. God Monster of Indian Flats is, I think if anyone says to me, Dave, what do you recommend from the AGFA section? I would tell them to begin with God Monster of Indian Flats. Terrible film, but really, really good fun. It's immense fun. Have a few beers, watch it on a Friday night, and just relax to some regional filmmaking insanity. I said last week that Kelly Reichardt's films are renting more and more with the release of her new film showing up, showing somewhere. And someone's just taken this one, Mixed Cut Off. Great. I know Old Joy I like a great deal, but I think in hindsight this may be my favourite film of hers. It's really, really cool. I have a news section. I haven't got a film on sticker on it. It is out, trust me. I have a news section right by the door over there, which I'm really proud of. I can't tell you what it's called because I've forgotten the name of it. But it is British films that were made between 1996 and 2004 that have since vanished into obscurity. It's great. So many great films there that have just completely vanished. And they deserve a bit of attention. Like this one with Lee Evans. It's a bit like My Little Eye. But it's really cool. So we'll have a look in depth at that section maybe in next week's episode. But yeah, I'm pleased to see films like this going out. One of the best documentaries ever made is Barbara Koppel's Harlan County, USA, looking at the coal mining crisis in small town Kentucky. Yeah, just brilliant. I know documentaries aren't for everyone, but this is a magnificent piece of work. And finally, some lucky chap rented, well, half, the Vinegar Syndrome Lost Picture Show. I mean, what a lush box set. Ridiculous price, which is crazy. So to rent half of it for £1.66 is kind of a bargain. But that's what I like. It's 10 movies that otherwise would never have seen the light of day. Vinegar Syndrome have rescued them, restored them. They're all kinds of weird and unusual stuff. You know, horror, family, erotic. And they're all on this 10 movie box set. So this guy has rented 5. I haven't seen any yet. So I'm looking forward to him returning it and telling me how great they are, or maybe not. But still, really interesting rental. And it's good to see young people going back and renting some old, obscure cinema that otherwise, you know, you wouldn't get stuff like this on Netflix. We have quiz results. Thank you for all the people that entered. The answer, of course, was That Thing You Do. That was the missing film. Loads of people got it right. The first person to get it right was Blue Crayon 77, who gets the pick of either Urban Legend boxer or replicant. So just DM me. Tell me what you want, and I will get it over to you. Whatever's left of that twosome goes to the winner of the draw, which was picked earlier. And the winner of that was Jonah Fish 75. So please get in touch. Also, no competition this week. We'll have one next week with another exciting Blu-ray prize. Moving on, we have a quick label spotlight. I know a few people missed out on this last week. They were gutted who I didn't have one. Obviously, label spotlight. Well, who should we pick? Should we pick Arrow maybe? 88 Films. Oh, there's so many to choose from. How about Mosaic? That's what I want to do. I want to go left field. Obviously, everyone worships all the great labels that are going today, all the great boutique labels. But back in the day of DVD, there were some great labels also. And it may seem weird to say so, but I did collect films by label. You know, it's the old adage. I know I've got a lot of American viewers, but some people say, you know, football adage, the Premier League didn't invent football. Football existed before the Premier League. And it's kind of like this, you know, movie collecting existed before Blu-ray. DVDs happened, they had labels, some of them acquired very interesting stuff. Mosaic was one of my favourites. I really did like Mosaic. It was Ian Muspratt's label. I spoke to Tim Murray recently and he told me that the nitty-gritty of how they came about. Ian, of course, owned the Choices rental chain in the UK. Back in the day, there were 3 main video rental stores. There was Blockbuster, Global Video, and Choices was the third. Ian Muspratt owned Choices. He was a bit different from the average rental dealer. He kind of fancied himself as being a film distributor going down to Cannes and the American film market to pick up the odd title. So Choices had a number of stores, though. Choices had a couple of hundred stores. So it was easy to get the titles that he acquired out into the open. He could just acquire a license of film and then it would be in a couple of hundred video stores immediately. Inevitably, Ian left Choices and also the Rental Rights Directive, which came in 2002, which led to 2-tier pricing and kind of changed the whole ballpark in video rental. We can go into that in depth if you really want to another time. But yeah, Rental Rights Directive in 2002 led to rental dealers boycotting Warner Brothers because they were trying to do something different with Training Day at the time. They were trying to put Training Day into retail stores and rental stores at the same time, but charge rental stores a premium for having the rental, while retail copies were cheaper, but you couldn't rent the retail, you had to rent the rental, you had to pay the premium for the rental and not the retail. You understand. Anyway, dealers boycotted Warner. Ian Muspratt and Choices were the first to break that picket line. So then, all the other dealers stopped buying Mosaic movies. Thus, Mosaic sales went from being in every video shop in the country, Blockbuster, Global, and all the indies, to just being in Choices. Bit of a shame, but in that time they released some mega films. I'm not going to go through them all because there's so many. A couple of the key ones. There's the old Mosaic badge at the bottom, the blue badge of Mosaic. I've got it here for you just in case you can't see it. But yeah, they released some really cool films like Beyond Reanimator, the Ginger Snaps trilogy they put out, and also some really cool rare, some really cool horror films that have kind of fallen by the wayside now. Stuff like Black Cadillac with Randy Quaid. The Locals, which is a great New Zealand horror film that I really do love. Love Object. Sex doll, person falls in love with, horror film. And of course Stephen King's best adaptation, The Night Flyer, which is just mega and stars Miguel Ferrer. Also The Pool is really cool as well. They put out Candyman Day of the Dead. They put out the Wish Master sequels. Just some really exciting horror films like Jolly Roger, They're Among Us. Also stuff like The Substitute as well, and Mark L. Lester's White Rush. They really did put out a whole load of amazing films on their label. And that blue badge was an absolute badge of quality. It's rare that you will ever rent or see a Mosaic film on these shelves and it not be worth a look. They were all great. And yeah, they're a much missed label. And I wish people would go back a little more often and pay tribute to good British distributors and labels from the end of the 90s, early noughties, because some of them are great and some of them really did have an eye for a good movie. And Mosaic was definitely one of those. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in for episode 3 of Inside the Video Store. As always, you can check me out on Facebook, Instagram under Snips Movies, or on the app formerly known as Twitter as the Dave Wain. Please leave any comments, thoughts, suggestions underneath in the comment section, and that'll be absolutely fantastic. But for now, I'll see you next week.